Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Classics Show. I am your host, Shabnaam Riaz. How are you on this Sunday evening? Hoping you've had a great weekend and you're getting ready to get back into the week, the working week, and some people have those Monday blues, so here we are for you to get rid of those Monday blues. And today we've got a beautiful topic, and we're going to talk about the power of language. The power of language. I mean, what are we doing with those words that come out of our mouths, the words that we write down, the words that we use to communicate? How aware are we of the language that we're using, and are we using it to our advantage? They say that you are what you eat. I think that in a way we are what we speak. So let's talk about that today. For today's program, we have a lovely guest in the studios, and I'm very, very happy to introduce Asma Qadeer, who's an assistant professor of linguistics and an M&A for the PTI. Thank you very much, Asma, for joining us here today. It's an absolute pleasure, and today we're not going to be talking about politics. We're going to be talking about literature and language and other things that are soulful. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy that as well.
Yeah, intellectual talk.
Yeah, right. So as we said, that language influences our thought, it influences our action, it influences the way we behave, how we are perceived as another person, and our communication as well. Now, the first question I wanted to ask you is that how does the language that we speak influence the way that we think, the way we behave, and our communication with others?
As its frames, language is actually a very beautiful medium to express our views and desires to people. Yeah, as you were saying earlier, language do tell us what kind of personality I have. And to tell you the truth, that the language actually shapes the personality. The way what kind of text you read, what kind of literature you read, language do influence, and it affects people. For instance, any word that I might use and you don't like it. Yeah. So what will happen? That the reaction will be next time you won't like seeing me or won't like being friends with me. Look at the magic of the words, like 3 words: honor, dignity, and country. Just say these 3 words to a soldier, and look what happens.
The magic.
The magic is that he lives for his country, he dies for the country, and he's happy whatever you send him anywhere on earth, on thorns, or rugged terrains, or anywhere. He will going to feel nothing. Just 3 words give him so much of strength. Wherever the field, he stands up again and gives him courage, gives him hope. So yes, language do shape our, like Sapir said. Even Benjamin said that language do shape our thoughts, do shape our frames, our thinking, and do shape our personality with that as well. For example, there was a very beautiful. Can I tell you in some? The Bulle Shah, the way
definitely, I love Bulle Shah.
You read each and every word.
It speaks straight to your soul, doesn't it?
And you feel like, just being with the poetry of Bulle Shah, you don't want to be the part of the world anymore for a while. That you want to understand and commit. The way those words communicate to you is like lofty language.
Absolutely.
The lofty and grandeur, the excellence, and it hits you, it molds you, it shapes you. Keep thinking on it. Just one word. For example, he said one of the very beautiful lines which always, hit me. And he said, "Phulla da tu itar bana, phulla da tu itar bana, itara da fir kad darya, itara da fir kad darya, darya vich fir raj ke na." ਦਰਿਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਰ ਰੱਜ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਮੱਛੀਆਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਤਾਰੀਆਂ ਲਾ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਬੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੁਕਣੀ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਮੈਂ ਮੁਕਾ. Now look, every literature has its beauty. Go for the Shakespeare, go for the Socrates, Aristotle, what they used to talk, lines, even the literature. But the language only is going to influence you when it has its possesses excellence, if it possesses grandeur, or it possesses loftiness. So even the language depends, it's the language of communication as well. For example, this text in front of it, it's a text. Okay, it's not a literature, it's kind of, you just, you know, for help are facilitating yourself. Language do facilitate, but it depends on general language or beautiful or excellent language of grandeur or simple language or language of common people. So it depends what kind of language going to influence.
Right, right, absolutely. And also, you know, Bulleh Shah, he used so much of the word mitti.
Mitti,
for you to get back with the essence of your existence, where you are going to go. Make
and look
friends.
Look at the imagery.
Look at the imagery is fantastic.
He says ke pulla datu itar. So the both things are, you know, the scent and the flowers, and you just feel which flower going to have the beautiful fragrance.
Amazing.
So you're going to think about it. You're going to go into the nature. You will be in imagination, in your imagination.
Absolutely.
You will be in the field of flowers.
True.
So language do good, beautiful language, lofty language do give you great imagination.
Exactly.
Do shape your thinking.
Exactly.
I also believe Sapir and the linguists, some linguists say that there is no direct answer to this. But I say yes, language do say. If the dignity, honor and country can, you know, make miracle through the force, through the energy of forces, armed forces. So what the language has, we understand.
So another way, writers are creating magic, aren't they? I mean, because centuries old work and poetry coming from any part of the world, if that can stay with you and make room for itself inside your heart and inside your soul, that is a huge achievement.
Yeah, but in these days, I feel that one of the person was very close to me, and I asked that, why don't you read? Why don't you get time to read? He said, Amma, I don't have time. My son, like, I'm so busy and I'm so, but I said, do the reading. Just 1 hour. Yes, we know that you're very busy. You're doing very important things in the life. But for a while, you know, reading something, a reading of a good writer, right? I say the classical writers were great writers, the great writers of the past. True. They talked about the life, they talked about the death, they talked how, you know, we must read them as well. That
absolutely.
To understand what life is, they help us to understand life in more, you know, easier way.
Absolutely.
So it also, I feel it shapes the personality, good language, reading good writer, author. Look at the Shakespeare, I was so influenced by Shakespeare, I was so influenced by Allama Iqbal. Like one of his line always, you know, tell my children that to understand the meaning of life, because it's very complex to understand. One line, if it gives you some greater meaning, you can even follow it and live a life on it. So the good language or the literary language, literature language is so rich in it. It's
so powerful.
So powerful and loaded with meaning that every time you come up with the new experience and with new meaning. So it is, like Allama Iqbal says, that इन दोनों की परवाज़ फ़ज़ा की एक ही है, इन दोनों की परवाज़ फ़ज़ा में एक ही है, गरगस का जहाँ और गरगस का जहाँ और eagle, what do you call?
Shaheen.
Oh, Shaheen ka jahan aur. So one comparing eagle and vulture, so you understand eagle, it portrays a personality.
Yes, exactly.
Eagle portrays a personality.
And so much depth.
So much depth that he's always alone. He doesn't live with the flock. Vulture lives with the flock and lives on the foods that is left by eagle or any animal, but is very coward.
There's so much symbolism there.
Symbolism, and eagle is always anywhere it can live, but is the bravery, the symbolism of bravery. So you know the language and using in your lines or in your poetic or in your narrative, it tells you what personality you are and how you think, and the more greater you're gonna think, the more greater language will be. Absolutely. It also depends on your thinking. If you're going to think about about greater things like relating yourself, sit for a while in a nature and relate yourself and merge yourself in the voices that is coming through nature to you. And you will see the words will start coming into, if you're a thinker.
Yeah.
You know, thinking in language makes you a great thinker.
Of course, as many poets retreat towards, you know, isolation and nature to connect with themselves. You will find that many of them say, you know, that it was nature and then the meditation and the isolation where you filtered out those thoughts and you were able to come out with such wonderful, you know, words.
And then you
that
can have
timeless.
a lofty language.
Oh, yes.
Then you have. Otherwise, if you're not thinking and if you're not connected with the good literature, lofty literature that has excellence, then we cannot have a thinking that can influence others.
Absolutely.
We can only influence others once we read a lot, a good literature as well.
You know, that's so important what you're saying, because again, that comes back to that statement, you know, the statement where you are what you eat, okay?
Yeah.
So you are what you're thinking.
Yeah.
You are, where are you getting those thoughts from?
Yeah.
Those thoughts are coming from somewhere. You see, those triggers and what you're being exposed to, whether it be television. So many things have to be, in a way, neutralized. It seems that book reading and reading good literature, it is a sort of a detox as well, isn't it?
Detox of your soul, detox of your mind, and the detox of your, like you, once you detox by reading good literature, it really, you ascend in spirituality as well. True. Right? Like once Dickens said, I remember I was writing here on that have a heart that never hardens. Oh. Have a heart that never hardens. And have a temper that never tires. Oh. And have a touch that never harms. So look, these are very simple words.
Again, and then you can take those 6 lines and you can take them for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You can teach it to your children, to your grandchildren, and tell yourself. Yeah. And that's something to
have
live
a heart that never hardens.
Beautiful.
This is just telling you, yes, do not be arrogant, be humble. Just like we have been taught in so many ways, that humility, really, you earn respect through humility. Never, arrogance is really, so a lot of things that is connected to our personality traits is come from good literature and good language.
The word you just used, humility, that is in essence such an important word. And as a nation, how would you think we're doing when it comes to being humble, to coming to, you know, embracing humility? What do we need to do?
Oh, well, as a nation, very tough question. I can explain you with my experience, because as I see is really living around people, the way people now behave with each other is very difficult, and enduring their behavior, which is not soft or what I should say, very arrogant. So it really hurts to live among such people, and I feel like Pakistan is not too much, but to extent people
we
are.
We need to work on it.
Yes, we need to work on it.
Mindfully.
I remember that sometimes I feel my children say I'm very humble, my friends say I'm very humble.
I've just met you, I just met you and I was able to talk to you, and you know, exactly that's the things that rubbed off on me as well.
It works from childhood. I remember that a movie that absolutely jolted me from inside, and that was Bambi.
Bambi, okay.
I was, I think, in grade 2.
Okay, beautiful.
So my father took me, he used to take me to watch good movies, which was related to Walt Disney. And I used to tell my father, I love Walt Disney. I want to see, I will first, one day he asked, whom are you going to meet in paradise? I said, Walt Disney.
Oh, sweet.
He said, why Walt Disney? I said, oh, he made Bambi.
lovely.
So the Bambi actually happened watching it, beautiful its landscapes,
expression as well, and Bambi's expression.
And the Bambi's, and the way this with the nature and, you know, staying with the friends like rabbit, and it was so much. And when the mother dies, you know, so it touched me. I just felt like the Bambi's mother died. And there I started feeling about other children's mother, other children's father, my mother, my father. And I remember there was a sheep brought in a home for the sacrificial, that Eid al-Zuha. And I was not letting my father to do that sacrifice. And I was telling you, you were going to kill someone's mommy, someone's daddy. And it made me sick. On the morning, I found on the Eid day that the sheep is not, it has been, slaughtered.
Sacrificed.
So it really shaped me. And since that time, and my father was a great hunter. And I used to, because that Bambi affected me so much, the language. And other movies as well, so reading books, great books related to nature, it's just like cartoon and all. And that made me never watch adult movies. I just love watching children cartoons, and the good cartoons.
Right.
Loving animals, actually, these cartoons made, gave me empathy.
Because then they're bringing out so many and compassion, empathy,
understanding going through, and every life that exists. You feel like, oh, it's like we are hurting. So and that kind of sense, that kind of feelings really stops you for every time for going, going a little bit aggressive, stops you. Now you have to hold yourself. There you understand where the arrogance starts.
Okay, for somebody who's watching this program, and for me myself as well, I would like to ask you, how did you keep, first of all, being humble in a place where maybe you may not come across so many people who are humble? How do you keep that quality? How do you keep that skill? What keeps you motivated?
Perhaps I've been reading a lot. I read so many things, and I still read a lot. And it's the understanding through reading I got. Empathy, reading Wordsworth, Keats, Shakespeare, and dramas,
Right.
So they gave me a lot of understanding about the different characters. And the plus thinking, because reading getting sensitive, it's getting sensitive as well. If you're not sensitive, I feel like you have to be sensitive about others.
True.
And you have to stop for a while and think about. Like I do check my daily before going to sleep. I do check what I did.
Oh, that's amazing.
Did the whole.
So you're giving yourself a sort of a monitoring at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you're reflecting. So that's self-reflection.
And I feel when I feel sorry if I did wrong, I immediately, even if I feel like that is going to be very I feel very insulted if I'm going to ask sorry, but I do say sorry if I do wrong. But that gives me more power. It gives me more energy to endure. And saying sorry, even if you've done wrong and you know that person, and beating your, what do you call it, that image, that ego. Right. There, when you start beating your ego, the khudi begins.
Exactly. As we know from the Sufi poetry, and as we know from, exactly the khudi,
when the khudi comes,
philosophy as well, the ego. It's the ego that is, again, that it resurfaces, and you have to control it.
You have to controlling ego. You have to think and you have to meditate about it. You have to shape yourself. To kill my ego, I used to sit for like hours and hours in my room, and that working on, because it's a human instinct.
Oh yeah.
You are jealous of someone. You have fears. You have shame. You have. What you can say that you're very aggressive sometimes.
You feel that something is not justified. You feel that you have been done an injustice.
But for that, to prove yourself that you are right, you have to first control your own bad side. For example, I have to work to kill the bad side, bad asthma. Do you understand?
That we might not even know about,
Yeah.
actually.
So you have to think about it, what is the
Yeah.
bad, and we know what is bad. Lying is bad, jealousy is bad, you know, shaming others is bad, talking back behind someone is bad. So, you know, you have to work in it, on it. And what is that is going to lift you up from? So thinking about myself, and I thought, which is going to enhance me, ascend me spirituality, in spirituality, and going to ascend me my personality. That is through reading. I just read good books, like I started, very early started with Khalil Gibran.
Oh, beautiful.
So
Love
you know,
his
to
work.
shape yourself and to shape your mind and shape your soul, you have to read the past classical good work. So
In
that
a
shape, and think
way,
on it.
That's
You
so
s-
true.
You separate words.
Because it touches your heart, doesn't it? I mean, like
Anything
Khalil
that
Gibran
touches
that
you,
you have,
yeah.
that you have
Oh,
mentioned,
every line,
amazing. I mean,
every line.
his work just stays with you,
Yeah.
and you find
Doesn't come out,
yourself
yeah.
sharing, resharing, and you know, thinking about it again, as you said. So, in other words, the restlessness that is inside every human being, to everyone, it's to a different degree, but the restlessness that is inside you, it is soothed and tamed by what you're feeding your
Yeah,
soul,
exactly,
isn't it?
Exactly. It just makes you so serene if you read good, but at the same time you give it as well. If you do not give, if you do not do good to others, you know, and that is starting from respecting.
Oh, yeah.
In front of me, whoever stands, whoever may be a criminal, but I have to respect that. And yes, hurting criminal, it's not my job. You know, abusing someone is, it's not, I think it's not a good person's sign. So respecting everyone the way it exists. Because I used to feel, and it is, that a person who has never read, don't know how to read and write. I heard him saying such lofty things, which used to, I used to say, my God, because he says, one of my, at my young age, when I was child, gardener, my mother's gardener, he used to talk so good, and he said, Bibi, don't this, you are from this soil.
Imagine.
Yeah. And I said,
And such wisdom.
Wisdom. You are from this soil. And he used to say, you please touch it very softly. And there I felt, see, it's people, you know, you learn from everyone.
And you know what you're saying is so true, because I was part of a tree planting campaign, and we got some people together. We planted a couple of 100 saplings. When we actually went and planted the trees, touched the saplings and touched the soil, and, you know, I felt this connection, and I felt something going on. And then I had to write a poem for it. And I looked at the poem and I shared it, and I got such a wonderful response from people, and I felt that something, you know, really, really, I connected with the earth.
Yes.
Exactly,
It
just
is there.
touching
It
the
is
soil.
always there. You have to explore it.
Yeah.
It's always there. Like, you know, I remember that jolted my personality as well. Like, I became thinker from very young age. How? Like, my father, we used to live in mountains. My father was an army officer. So we usually used to post it in a mountainous area. And there we used to use horses. And our vehicle was horse.
Lovely.
Going from mountains, going down to the streams
wonderful.
and coming to the mountains. One day, we were, you know, trotting, not just, you know, galloping, trotting near the stream. And I wanted to get down. And he said, well, okay, so what do you want to do? I said, I want to go far. He said, all right. He got me down, and one word he said, take off your shoes, you're going to hurt these, feel them, feel the stones, you know, lying near the streams. And then he said, run as far as you can, I'm watching you. And whatever you feel in the end, you will share this, we'll discuss in the evening.
Okay.
And I started running on the streams. There were stones all around.
Okay.
It was in Kashmir.
Okay.
And there I just stopped. I felt that it's just the earth and the sky. And I far away felt earth and sky connecting together. And I came back and I said, well, there's someone up, is someone lives up there? He said, where? I said, the sky. He said, yes. I go, who's that? He said, what did you feel? I said, someone who lives on the earth as well. So, you know,
imagine how beautiful.
Just a child, and I was just discovering. He never, he said, just go and find an answer yourself, and find the answer yourself.
Right.
He never said that is God and all.
Yeah,
so I discovered myself.
How beautiful.
It's so beautiful, you know, that you hear, you also feel once you're in the nature. There's so many things talk to you, so many air whispers to you. So it's up to you how you feel it. And you can only feel it if you're good in language.
So true.
And language comes to yourself. Even you start thinking, the good, it is our in lexicon, I feel like. I don't know. I feel like there is good language. That's why so many languages exist in the world. Yeah. There are languages. It's only we have to explore it. And we can get good words or lofty words and words full of meaning, rich meaning, only when we start thinking on it. Yeah. And there, when you start thinking on it, you start shaping yourself.
Absolutely.
You shape your soul, you shape your mind, you shape yourself spiritually.
Beautiful.
So it's the language actually shapes you in all ways.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I love the connection that you're making. And keeping this in mind, when we talk about the time that we spend with other people, the time we spend in conversing, or, you know, like we have now, texting. Texting is going on, you know, nearly 24/7 and whatever. So we're using language. And we're doing so much of it subconsciously. So much of it we're doing without even thinking about what we're saying in that. So then, keeping that in mind, how mindful should we be of the people we are giving our attention to, the people we are sitting down and spending time with and having conversations with, especially our children?
No, I didn't get you.
Meaning that, you know, the popular saying is a man is known by the company he keeps.
Yeah.
So how mindful should we be about who we are spending our time with? Because of course they're influencing our thoughts.
Exactly.
And the language that we're using to talk to them. That's also...
Yeah, it is the text that we really read on our cell phones is not a text that we should be keeping in. We should be less concentrating on it. The text that the literature gives us, we should try as much as we can to turn ourselves towards that. Because in daily routine, we have to communicate. That's a part of communication. But it really makes a difference. If you start talking with your people in a language of excellence, it's going to affect the other people as well. They will start thinking.
Oh, it's so true.
And you're going to make them,
so true.
Bring them to such a edge that they will start thinking of reading some good. Because, for example, Shabnaam speaks so good. She has good words, and she, you know, like talking to her, before talking to her, I must have some good words as well. So in other way, indirectly, you're also influencing someone to read. Yeah, so the best way that you keep speaking to people, but we cannot discard ourselves from them. You know, through you, so many people can change. Through you, so many people can learn. So it's keep adding in them and keep influencing them, not telling them directly that they are not using good language. But at the end of the day, you have to take yourself for a while, an hour, at least minimum 1 hour.
1 hour every day?
Yeah, every day. It is like you going back to your real friend.
Me time.
Yeah, me time. It's like me time, real friend. And I felt that reading good books, reading good literature, sometimes I felt I never needed a friend.
Wow.
I never needed a friend.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I can live alone for a long, long time.
Right.
The books are there.
Right.
Yeah.
We are going to come back to this wonderful conversation. Right now we're going for a break, but don't change the channel. Welcome back to the program. We've been having a fantastic conversation, a really lovely sort of, spiritual and soulful, and being able to talk about so many things that are associated with language, the power of language, all the things that we're not thinking about but are there in reality. And Asma, it's so lovely to think that I had all these questions prepared, but I didn't ask a single one of them because the flow of conversation has been so wonderful, and we've been able to, pick up on so many things. Now, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us about your self-learning in languages, because I think that is really intriguing. Tell us about that.
Actually, yeah, I'm a self-learner in languages. Like we had in childhood, we used to go to school where English was must. But at home, like we spoke mother language. My dadu used to speak Arabic. My mother was my nana, who taught me Persian till he was alive. And going to school, we used to feel what language we should speak.
Okay, right.
And at home, my dada used to say that you learn Punjabi. Punjabi must be, we were going to speak Punjabi.
Okay.
So there was so much of pressure of different languages.
Okay.
So in that, I felt that probably the most and Urdu. So the school that we used to go, there was only English. Urdu was not taught. So when Bhutto actually, what did he abolished all O-level studies and all that. So we were preparing to go for O-levels because of the English. But as the O-levels was abolished, so we had to focus on Urdu. So going to class to 8, when I reached to 8, so I didn't know Urdu, what to do about it.
And then you had suddenly...
And suddenly, so I only focused on learning Urdu.
Okay.
Even till reaching metric. I don't know how I passed it, but I passed it.
Okay.
And then I got married. I was not stopped studying, going to college. But later, as I loved reading, I always pray to God that give me more life so I can read and write.
Wonderful.
Next coming again, I will only read and write. I will do nothing. I will just read and write and speak and going through the language. I love learning language. They're so beautiful. Learning language make you intelligent as well. You know so many people. You know so many culture. So anyways, then I started focusing on Urdu, because then I have to go for FA and BA. And if Urdu language is so compulsory. Till now I'm learning Urdu. Right? So I feel like I'm not good in any language. But learning English was very, very much needed to communicate, and as I wanted to be. First I wanted to be astronaut. For that I felt like I must know the English language. But as I got married, so that was, the dream was that. Absolutely got out of that context. So then I focused on being teacher, because there was something in me that I wanted to teach, and I wanted to teach language. And I really, really loved 2-3 languages. That was one was very inspirational for me, was English. I felt it's easy, I can understand very easily. And then was the Persian.
Oh, beautiful.
And because after the day I started reading Sheikh Sadi, so it was very simple, the language very simple, and I felt like that is very much related, connected to Urdu. There's so many words that I read in Urdu is in Farsi as well.
Yeah.
But and a time came when I wanted to be teacher, I felt like, oh, I'm so bad in, started forgetting English. Then I forgot the Persian as well. When till grade 5, my nana taught me writing, Farsi, the qaidas that we used to, books, the starting books, prep qaida and so on, and class 1 qaida and so on. So there was so much about the languages that I felt like that knowing any language really makes you more brighter than anything. You feel like you know more.
Empowered.
Because empowered. And that you open any book, like book of science, any history or chemistry or biology, it's all language. It's the language of the words, that's all.
Of course.
And if you know the language, you can cope with any word and you will understand all things. It's the language. Once you're good in language, you can understand anything in the world. Science becomes easy. Learning mathematics, because it all depends on language, if you're good. So I feel like the children from childhood, they must be taught to learn fluently, speak and write fluently in English. or any language.
Or
your
any
mother
language, whatever the
Pashto
language
is so
is.
beautiful
Yeah.
language.
Oh, it's a beautiful language.
Punjabi
yes.
is such a beautiful
Yes.
language,
Yes,
French.
definitely.
I started learning French,
Oh, lovely.
So,
Such passion for languages.
Yeah, I have.
Oh,
So,
you know, we're running out of time, so I definitely want to hear your poem.
Oh,
because you're a writer yourself, you're a poet yourself, and, you know, I don't want the program to end without us hearing something from you.
Yeah, I would
so
like
we
to. I've been
really
writing so much, but this time I would like to read Dies I have taken from Shakespeare's
Okay.
poetry.
Right.
So the name of my poetry is Endurance.
Endurance.
Thy woman's crown.
Ah, beautiful. I love the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Endurance, thy name is woman. Preservance, thy sanctity. Thy grace is taken an omen by the ignorant faculty. The world existed due to thy existence, symbol of human heritage and sustenance.
Beautiful.
You know that every such person is your foe, who demands your silence and shuns you to grow. A country cannot develop its own institutions, strengthen organizations, if a woman is halted from the process of transformation. Without her participation in nation-building process, no hope and an idea will ever progress. Commitment to the struggle doesn't mean that she should be held in cage. Commitment is a spirit that she flies with at the times of rage. There is a tendency in her strikes, struggles and losses, and becomes a shireen when linked with greater forces. Give respect and light and she'll find her way, or else a striker, often people will say.
Oh, beautiful. Lovely.
Thank you.
Loved it.
So she's a striker if she's going to.
Oh, wonderful. I really love that. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the
Thank you so
program.
much.
It
Thank
has
you.
been an absolute pleasure and a
Same
delight
here.
sitting down and talking
Same
to
here,
you.
Shabnaam.
And
And
thank
what a
you so
humble
much.
personality you are.
Oh,
Such
I
a
was going to
great-
say the same thing to you.
Oh, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. It's really, really been wonderful to be able to share all these fantastic thoughts that you've had, and I'm sure that the viewers have had a wonderful time as well listening to you, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, and with that we come to the end of today's program. The power of language, the power of those words that we are using, the power of, you know, there's so much there that we can be mindful about, and to improve your conversation, to improve your thoughts, and to improve what you feel, you know, that is the first stepping stone, of course. So until next week, stay happy. Bye-bye.